We got to look at a lot of personality traits, sort of like a music mixing board. You can be more anxious or less anxious. It's not simple genetics. Things like autism, it isn't have it or you don't. It's a continuum of genetics. A music mixing board is a really, really good analogy for these complex traits that have a lot of genetic factors. I can be more visual or less visual. And then the big argument is, when does innate ability matter more than plasticity? Where I think innate, what you're born with, really matters, is on extreme ability, like maybe extreme math ability, musical ability, also extreme disability. I've got no working memory. And I think trying to improve that, let's just work around it with written stuff. Then in the middle, like let's say it'd be extreme ability here, extreme disability and something here, but then in the middle here, there is a lot of plasticity. But you can't get from one end of the mixing board to the other. That's just not going to happen. But you do have a lot of plasticity in here. So they both are important. Okay, what would happen to Einstein today? Quirky, temper tantrums. I have a letter that Einstein sent to the parent of an autistic child that I got about 30 years ago. It's a copy of a letter where he said he didn't talk until age 3. What would happen to him today? You know, where would he go today in today's education system? You know, it's brilliant. And I've run into a lot of kids labeled autistic that are brilliant. What about little Stevie, this weird loner? He brought snakes to school and he turned them loose. And then when he worked for Atari, he was a dirty, filthy slob. And if you've seen the HBO movie about me, there's a scene in there where my boss slams down the deodorant and says, "You stink, use it." And that movie was made right here in weird Austin. That's where the movie was made. Okay, I can see a lot of kids getting labels. I'm worried that a lot of smart, quirky kids, because that's another label I'm going to use, are getting screened out. Can't do algebra, so the girl isn't allowed to take biology. That's ridiculous. A lot of people that'd be super good out in the field kind of getting marginalized and screened out. Really concerns me. We need these people out in the field. All right, love this book. You can pick this up online by Betsy Morris on Dyslexic CEOs of major businesses. How about the man who started JetBlue at ADHD? So he did a great job working with all of the investors, selling it, getting it started. But he had to get someone better in operations so he wouldn't have another Kennedy Airport fiasco during a snowstorm. So this is an example of needing to have different kinds of minds. How about IKEA? Both ADHD and dyslexia. Yeah, he's doing really well, really good business. Steve Jobs was the artist who made the iPhone. Engineers had to make it work. You need the different minds. All right, now I'm going to show you why you need visual thinkers out there that maybe can't do algebra. And you need them to prevent a mess like the Fukushima nuclear power plant. This was an elementary visualization mistake. If I had been drawing the concrete work, doing the cross sections of the concrete, what they call the elevation drawings, I would have seen the mistake. This is located next to the sea. Yes, they did build a big seawall, but they had no backup for the seawall. And when the tsunami came over the top of the seawall, it immediately flooded the basement where the emergency cooling pump and the generators were. Simple watertight doors would have prevented it. This was strictly a visual thinking mistake. Now, I can't design a nuclear reactor, but all I know is if that pump doesn't work, I'm in so much trouble it isn't funny. And having worked in the meat industry, I've worked with a lot of pumps. And I've worked with great construction guys that have built Cargill plants and other heavy construction. You know, it would have been easy to have gotten water on the core. But the other mistake they made is they never asked for help. That was social. How could you let a nuclear power plant not only melt down, but do breach of containment and not call for help? It's a world emergency. You see, as an autistic person, I wouldn't care about the social. I would have picked up the horn and called.